Good evening, everyone. We will now begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for blessings and protection received while participating in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer. Please stand. かまはらにかむぞまります。かもろぎかもろみのみこともして、つめみよやかもいざなぎのみこと、つくしのひむかのたちはなの、おどのあはぎはらにみそぎはらいたもうときになりまする。はらいどのおかみたちもろもろのまがごとつみけられよ。はらいたまえ清めたまえとまおすことのよしよ。天つ神国つ神青よろずの神たちともに、雨のふちこまの耳振り立てて、きこしめせとかしこみもまおす。弥勒を三上守りたまえ先生えたまえ弥勒を三上守りたまえ先生えたまえ教えみよや主の神守りたまえ先生えたまえ教えみよや主の神守りたまえ先生えたまえかんながらたまちはえませ。かんながらたまちはえませ。Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for group Johrei. May God the Meishu-sama bless you. Teaching for this evening is entitled God's Instruments. It's found on the Daily Inspirations, page 93. God's instruments. Let's do our best in both the horizontal and vertical aspects of our work, channeling God's light and living the teachings of truth. As God's instruments, our difficulties, no matter how great, are endured with patience as we continue to serve in His divine work. With trust in God, we need not to burden ourselves with regrets over past mistakes or undue worries about the future. From a spiritual point of view, worry is a form of bondage, the opposite of trust. It exerts an unfavorable influence upon the outcome of things, since it hinders God's helping, protective hand. The more unrestrained the worry, the more it obstructs divine guidance. We often prevent our own success. Nearly everyone has experienced an intense desire at one time or other for something that seemed unattainable. After despairing of it and releasing it, it unexpectedly came to pass. The same can apply to giving Johrei. When an attempt is made to help someone, anxiety in place of trust can retard progress. But when Johrei is given in a true spirit of prayer, without excessive concern by the giver, that person or their family, unexpected results are often obtained. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters. Today, I would like to share two faith experiences. One is from Rodrigo Nascimento of Duque de Caxias, Brazil. In 1998, Rodrigo Nascimento began to suffer from anxiety disorder and panic attacks. The symptoms were terrible. He couldn't sleep, felt dizzy, and tingling throughout his body. His heart was racing, and he couldn't control his breathing. He had a feeling he was going to have a heart attack or go crazy. He sought medical help and started taking medication. In 2001, a cousin who is a Johrei member offered him Johrei. He received it for a few days, but not believing that his situation could be reversed, he gave up. 2004, Rodrigo met his wife. When witnessing his crisis, she was terrified and began to help him find a solution to his condition. However, nothing eased his suffering. Over the years, crises were frequent and varied in intensity. Even in the quieter periods, he was overwhelmed by negative thoughts that plagued him on a daily basis. Then, in July 2019, another cousin and wife, who are Johrei members, suggested to him the challenge of receiving Johrei for 30 straight days. This time he acted differently. He accepted their suggestion, and he did his very best, as if it were the last hope of overcoming his suffering. In this way, no matter the hour, the day, or the weather, Rodrigo and his wife would go daily to his cousin's house to receive Johrei. Gradually, he felt calmer, began to sleep better, and the chills and tingling disappeared. His thoughts changed. He no longer felt anguish, and his days became happier. The transformation that took place in just 30 days was incredible. After this period, he never had any more anxiety or panic attacks. He had finally found the long-awaited peace and happiness. He was discharged from medical treatment and his medications were suspended. Rodrigo and his wife received the sacred focal point of Hikari in September 2019 and their 13-year-old son 2 months later. Rodrigo dedicates weekly at the Johrei Center, provide religious assistance, and carry out our practice of faith at home. He's happier, more fulfilled every day. Every day he expresses his gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for the complete transformation in his life through the work of the divine light. He's also grateful to his cousins who extended their hand of salvation to him through Johrei and showed him the path to happiness. It was a very nice experience from Rodrigo Nascimento. And the other experience I would like to share is from Valso dos Ramos Villanova. He's from Amadora and Sintra Johrei Group in Portugal. Having successfully completed his IT management course, Valson Villanova went from Tondela to Lisbon in order to find a job. Time passed and he couldn't get a job, his interviews didn't go so well, and the tests he took went from bad to worse. His relationship with the relatives he lives with was also cold, as he felt that because he didn't have money to contribute at home, he was being put aside. So, with the guidance of his parents who live in São Tomé, Africa, he began to reflect and remember the times when he was in Tondela, when everything was going well. He managed to dedicate, channel Johrei, he practiced heavy positive thinking, and materialized his donation of gratitude regularly, among other dedications. However, after going to Lisbon, he stopped dedicating because he no longer felt like it, and he found excuses not to. It was then that he decided to change his situation. He went to the Johrei Center to ask for guidance, and when he shared what was going on, he was guided to channel Johrei every day, even if it was to his roommates, distribute the church newsletter on the street, and read the teachings of God revealed to Meishu-sama. As he already practiced tithing, donating 10% of his earnings, he began to donate 11% of all the money that came into his hands, even if the amount was small, which was a normal thing for him. In addition to this daily practice, in preparation for the annual ancestor service, Valso made a donation for all his ancestors, had the goal of channeling 50 Johrei, and preparing a special donation of gratitude. When putting the guidance received into practice, he ran into some difficulties, as he did not have the money to take transportation to go to church. But even so, he made an effort to go as often as he could, and in each trip to channel as many Johrei as possible, so that his ancestors could receive an intense light. 2 weeks later, he received a blessing. He received a transportation pass that allowed him to dedicate more, going almost every day to the church and giving Johrei assistance at the home of a member, also from São Tomé. This member was physically debilitated and for that reason unable to go to church. Valso had visited her home to channel Johrei, then to church, and upon his return, he had given her flowers of light brought from the center. In order to help her, he regularly put her trash on the curbside, since she couldn't carry very heavy things. At home, he started to make the dedication of spiritual cleansing, treating everyone with gratitude, and with that, the atmosphere began to improve steadily. The conditions subside, the conflicts subside, and on his birthday, they threw a big surprise party for him. Until the 31st of October, he managed to overcome his goal and channeled 55 Johrei. And on that same day, he also participated in the dedication of cleaning and preparation for the annual ancestor service. On November 1st, to also participate in the service, but ended up not making the donation of gratitude he had committed to, as this value was all he had, and he was attached to the money. After the conclusion of the service, he continued to dedicate by cleaning and tidying up the outer room. When he decided to leave, it started to rain, and someone said that his dedication was not over yet. He heard the same thing several times. He started to reflect and remember the donation he hadn't made it yet. He then let go of his attachment, made his donation of gratitude, and at the end of the prayer, an umbrella was offered to him so he could go back home peacefully. At the end of the afternoon of that same day, he received a phone call from a friend who had arranged a job interview for him. Also was very happy and immediately related to the effort made at the annual ancestor service. The next day, he went to the job interview, and when his future boss saw him, he asked Valso straight away if he had come ready to begin to work. That same day, he began working right away. He was totally surprised. After a week, he received the proposal for an extra work contract. He couldn't even believe it. He was speechless. The situation seemed impossible not so long ago. Valso learned that when we surrender our problems over to God and Meishu-sama, and strive to serve others, the impossible becomes possible. To express his gratitude, Valso materialized a donation of his first salary in full. He will continue striving in the assistance of Johrei, in guiding new people to the divine work of salvation of humanity, in the practice of his monthly donation of 11% of his earnings, and to make further efforts in his practice of faith, so that he can become a better instrument of God and Meishu-sama every day of his life. Also wants to express his gratitude to the Supreme God and Meishu-sama, his ancestors, as well as his parents and those who gave him guidance for all their prayers, affection, and attention. Very nice experience also from Valso of Lisbon, Portugal. Thank you very much for listening to these words. I wish you a very blessed evening, very blessed week ahead of us. With this concludes our evening service. Thank you very much.